Hi, and welcome to the Fairy Godmothers Pod of Wisdom and Knowledge. Welcome back for another fantastic half hour with us. We appreciate it if you're tuning in for the first time, or if you're tuning in for the sixth or seventh time. We appreciate you coming in and joining us for our Wisdom and Knowledge. I'm Reverend Elizabeth Howell, and my cohort or
comrade in
crime is...
I'm Reverend Cynthia, and welcome aboard, and we hope to see everybody or have everybody see us from, all over the place.
Yeah. And today we have an exciting, we have a guest calling in, Kari Noren-Hoshal. I'm going to get your name wrong, Kari, and don't say it, we'll get it correct. I just know you as Kari, and she's an amazing astrologer. I just am so thrilled to have her come on because she is going to knock your socks off.
Oh, she is. She's wonderful.
And she's going to do some predictions for the upcoming year. And she's an evolutionary astrologer, and she has studied with some big names. And she has clients nationally, and she is really a go-to for me as an astrologer. I really need her advice and wisdom.
An astrologer's astrologer.
Yeah, she's an astrologer's astrologer. So we're going to have her information up so you can contact her at the end of the show and figure out, get with her, because I'll tell you, it's worth it. It is worth it to get in her do your chart. So Kari, we'll get to you in a minute. I'm just going to really quickly do a cosmic traffic report, and then we're going to talk a little bit about a dove and what the dove means, because we're going to talk about Valentine's Day and
coming up.
So right now on February 18th, the sun will move into the sign of Pisces at 5:06 a.m. So happy birthday, Pisces. I love it.
I keep forgetting to mark these little buttons for the sound effects.
Yeah, we do have buttons for sound effects. You're going to have to get used to that there, girl. So on February 20th, Mercury will square the planet Jupiter. So the planet Mercury squares the planet Jupiter at 11 degrees Pisces, Gemini at 3:13 p.m. Now this transit may bring in a more cautious and unfocused energy to the day, and we may expect too much from information from other people.
TMI.
Right. And we also may not trust, or we misinterpret some, things that have been told to us. And we may also misinterpret philosophies and all around general communications. So when dealing with people at work or in your family, kind of just be aware there can be some misinterpretations. This day may also kind of be a scattered day, and it may give us a little bit of trouble relating and communicating in situations
communicating.
And feelings can be hurt easily today. Everyone will be thin-skinned. So that'll be challenging for the Pisces, the Geminis, the Virgos, and the Sages. Now, on February 23rd, Mars will go direct. So Mars has been retrograde, which means appearing to move backwards in the sky, which it really isn't moving backwards, but it does appear. So we do call it a retrograde. That's actually the Doppler effect, which means the Earth is moving faster and catches up with it. But Mars will go direct at 11 degrees Cancer at 9 p.m. So finally, the planet of action is going to move forward, and that is going to kind of bring a feeling of the dam bursting. Everything is gung-ho. We've been at the stoplight, it goes green, we're hitting the gas. So the energy that has been pent up and put on hold will now break free. And now we can get some things done. We can feel like we can move forward and start planning more events, more things for ourselves, and we won't have any more kind of that delayed energy. I know a lot of people have been extremely frustrated with this Mars retrograde this past 2 months, and now it's time to move forward. This will be good for the Cancerians, a little rough for the Capricorns, and challenging for the Aries and the Librans. And finally, February 25th, Mercury will conjunct Saturn at 20 degrees Pisces at 7:02 a.m. Now, this transit may bring in a very steady and reflective energy to the day. We may all feel a little more intuitive, a little bit more psychic, and our spider senses may tingle a little bit more all day.
Ooh, spidey.
Yeah, and we may feel a little more receptive and sensitive to outside energies. as well as our own dreams. So it is a good time to be just to be a little careful of distorted senses of reality and intuition. But it also is a very good time for creativity, journaling, inward guidance, that type of stuff. So that will be very good for the Pisceans, a little rough for the Virgos, and challenging for the Sagittarians and Geminis. So that's all for the Cosmic Traffic Report for February. And we are now going to discuss the dove.
The dove, yes, because we've got Valentine's Day coming up. And, you know, with it, the energy of the dove, the bird associated with love, peace, and purity, just to name a few of its meanings and associations. The prevailing belief that we associate the dove with love is that it is from its association with the Greek god Aphrodite.
Oh.
But the fact is, the dove is associated with a lot of goddesses for love, which include Ishtar, Inanna, Astarte, Isis, Venus, and actually a lot more.
Wow. That's a lot of goddess love.
It is. It's like, you know, and it goes around a lot of the world energies because, you know, Isis is Egyptian. We have Greek, Roman, Celtic goddesses, all you know, kind of run the gamut here.
Yeah. And also what the dove was also the symbol of God's love, right?
That comes into Christianity part
Christianity,
of it. Which I get to, I think, somewhere in here.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, you get me all discombobulated. Not that that's a difficult thing to do. All right. Okay. This would also calm devotion and reconciliation, and all those pigeonholes we have been taught to live in. Doves just happen to be in the same family as pigeons. So, okay, while these attributes are associated with femininity, they are also part of our spiritual lives as well, with their parts played in the story of Noah's Ark and their status as offerings in the altars of various gods and goddesses and indigenous beliefs. And let's see, and speaking of Noah, their place as messengers is well established in many indigenous traditions as well. Even some Native American peoples held that to harm a dove would bring down a curse upon the perpetrators. Okay, so what I talked about last time, I was looking at the wrong animal because I was doing these both at the same time.
Well, good, I can destroy the groundhogs.
Yeah, you can destroy the groundhogs with impunity. Which brings us to the time for those pesky shadow questions. Okay. Are you seeing your world through rose-colored glasses? Are you sacrificing yourself for the good of others at the cost of your own well-being? And some species have a ring around its neck, so there's issues with your throat. Either you're throttling your voice, dangling for the lack of care or response from those around you. So, you know, those are some things to look at when we're looking at the dove and Valentine this day. You know, it's great to be all loving and caring and devoted, but we have to remember to take care of ourselves too.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. That's very good. I love the dove. That is a beautiful animal.
It is.
So, well, stuff to think about. That's why it's called Pod of Wisdom and Knowledge. So you got a little bit of wisdom and knowledge right now.
Yeah, a little bit of snark.
Yes.
I like my snark.
But now we're going to introduce. Now, Kari, I want you to come on up. We're going to bring you on. Kari, give me your full name because I always mispronounce your last name.
Well, it's a mouthful. It's Kari Noren-Hoshal.
Thank
The
you.
Noren Swedish, Hoshal is German into English Scottish, which is my husband's background. So, yeah.
Wow.
Well, welcome. You know, we've been on other shows with us before, and
Yeah.
you know, astrologer, and I'll tell you,
And a good
just
friend,
love,
too.
and a good friend. You know,
I love you.
So-
Yeah, it's wonderful to be here.
just give us a little bit of insight, some astrology predictions for this upcoming year or half of the year, whatever. We just want a little quick insight into what's going on.
Yeah, well, I really think that this is a year that we've been waiting for. without really knowing it, so many of our light workers went into crisis, starting really even in the beginning of last year with the last gasp of Pluto in Capricorn.
Oh, yeah.
Pluto went into Capricorn in 2003, all this time, so more than 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Capricorn robber barons, as I call them, are the ones holding society up by the neck. You know, you were talking about the ring around the neck being restricted. People like, I'm just going to say it, Trump, Putin, the leader in North Korea, people like Saddam Hussein, and the leader in Iran. So what we're finding now is that we're in the transition from just expecting our leaders to be that way and to putting up with it into full-on revolution. We've got 4 out of the 5 outer planets this year changing signs, and 3 of them are going into Aries, at least for part of the year.
Oh, yeah.
What's Aries? Renewal, revolution, wake up, deal with your fears,
Grab
come
your
into
spear.
the power. Exactly. Use your own will to survive and to thrive. So Jupiter goes into Gemini as of June 9th. Sorry, Cancer from Gemini.
Yeah.
It was in Gemini this whole past year, which is why I can barely pronounce what I'm trying to say there, because it has kept us so freaking busy, we hardly know whether we're coming and going. As we go into Cancer now, remember Cancer is like the stomach. We're going to start digesting all of this crazy information that was thrown at us, and whatever really sticks that we threw at the wall will be what we'll be dealing with over the next year that Jupiter's in Cancer. So even the election, Jupiter in Gemini, and Trump is a Gemini.
Yeah.
So now we're going to see what he really is here to do. What he says is one thing, what he does is another. He's always going to be changeable with Gemini. Saturn is going to go into Aries for 3 months, from May 24th to September 1st. Uranus is going to finally, and I have to say this as a Taurus sun sign person, finally get out of my frickin' way and move into Gemini, where it'll be for 4 months, July 6th to November 7th. And with Uranus in Gemini, there's all kinds of information uploads coming our way. We're going to be probably discovering some new methods of communication, what I have always called the Ethernet, where we won't even need a device. It'll just be in the air, like we've seen in so many movies. We can draw, we got diagrams, we got everything just in space floating in front of us. Neptune is in Aries for 7 months, March 30th to October 22nd. And so with Aries now, we're being called to deal with our fear, with our anger, with our will, to assert ourselves, to take risks, and if we have to use force. So I do expect that there are going to be issues for Trump. There's been 2 attempts on his life. There could be something in this first year, and you know, Cynthia and I were even talking about the inauguration time. We know that security is going to be super intense, but would there be some even foiled attempt at something?
Well,
so stay
he is
tuned.
an older man. Could it just be his health?
It can even be that. Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah. Okay. So now the other thing that's going on, this is fire, 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 fire with Aries, right? Is we're halfway through the solar cycle. Solar maximum is 2024 and 2025. It got speeded up. It was going to be 25 and 26. But there were such big flares last year that they said, no, we're in it. So this cycle started in 2019, and it makes these huge shifts to our bodies, to our magnetics of our bodies, to the earth, to our DNA. So when you're feeling almost sometimes like you're being turned inside out, like you're upside down, like you feel very disoriented.
All the time?
Yeah.
Right? Solar maximum.
Yeah.
And, that is throughout this year. Now, what are some of the big conjunctions that are coming up? Every 37 years, we have Saturn conjunct Neptune. And so our orientation can be really off. We can feel confused. There can be a feeling of disassociation where what we thought was our truth, was our life, is being questioned, because Neptune has a lot to do with disillusionment, and Saturn is the structure of our lives. So that'll be taking place. And it's only 2 degrees apart, which is very tight, and that's May 25th to September 1st. Next year is the exact conjunction. So we're just getting prepared for something major, which is exact February 18, 19, 20 of 2026. Now, the Mercury retrogrades, they're all in fire signs.
Oh,
Jeez.
wow.
Yeah.
Is the North
Yeah,
Node
so-
still in Aries too?
Yes,
Oh.
yes, but it's shifting over to Virgo and Pisces. So at least, that is not going to be with us for the whole year. The shift over happens pretty early, though, January 11th. And they stay in Virgo and Pisces. So the North Node will be Virgo, and the South Node will be Pisces through July 26th of next year, 2026. It's pretty short, really, because it's supposed to be a year and a half, and it is exactly a year and a half with this nodal cycle. Now, what else is happening? Venus will go retrograde in Aries. So not just Mercury, but Venus will go retrograde in Aries. The solar eclipse in March will be in Aries. And at that time, Chiron and Eris will also be conjunct at 25-26 Aries.
Oh my gosh.
I am so glad I have nothing big planned. Because
Now,
the
see,
March solar eclipse is going to be a humdinger. So here, the 20. Yeah.
Okay, well, at least I'll be back from my trip.
Okay, glad to hear.
she'll be back from
Now,
Mexico.
because, and Mexico, be careful in the airports. Just be ultra prepared, because you're going to see about 3 million people sunburned in flip-flops, not knowing what the hell they're doing.
Oh,
I was
wonderful.
shocked at our American elegance and preparedness in the airports in Mexico. Okay, Jupiter is in Cancer now this year. So what happens with that is it's going to square all these Aries planets. So you've got Cancer, let me protect myself, let me go back into my nice little cave and digest what's going on. It's kind of a retreat mode for Jupiter. And then you've got Chiron and Aries squaring that Jupiter 3 different times this year.
Ooh.
So there are going to be times this year when the wound, Chiron Eris, is, the wound of being. With Aries, the key phrase is I am. So when we're feeling like we're not, in other words, we're feeling less than about ourselves, somebody wounds us in terms of our capacity to do our job or in relationship or as a friend, we're going to go retreating back into that Cancerian cave, probably boo-hooing all the way, right? And then hopefully seeing somehow the grain of truth in it all. So this will be taking place.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, there's a lot of growth and healing, deep wounds with Chiron and Eris. Now, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction is, one of the major ones at 37 years. But we've also got Chiron Eris that I just mentioned. That's every 54 years. Then we've got a really fascinating one, and I'd love to do an update with you about this later in the year.
Okay.
Uranus and Sedna every 95 years. Conjunct Sedna. And Sedna's a really outer solar system body, having to do a lot with the animals of to keep an eye on keeping our oceans as and healthy as we can, but there will be some sort of issue water in our planet. Saturn and Neptune will also make conjunctions to Ceres, the goddess of nutrition, and this happens every 5 years with each of these. This is us caring and bonding with others. We just see it right now already with LA. The whole city is involved in volunteering to take care of these poor people, well, whether poor or rich, who've lost their homes. Yeah. And many of the people who lost their homes are jumping right in, not thinking about what they've lost, but thinking about how they can help others. So there will be a lot of that helping to provide for us. Saturn goes retrograde with Eris, so that's going to be intense. October 14th. So sometime in the late summer, I think we should do some kind of an update on these things that are going on in the fall.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, awesome.
Now, one of the great things, even though there's a lot of intense fire energy, it feels like we're getting zapped by it, is that all the planets are direct for February 24th through March 1st, so that's about 6-7 days. And then April 13th through May 4th, which is about 3 weeks. And what does that do? Accelerated manifestation, opportunities to advance, wisdom, growth, and resilience. So even though, remember, fire is intuition. This is a year in which you want to follow your gut. You want to follow what you feel is the right path, not just, the advice of everybody because you're not quite sure to whether you should follow your own gut. This is the year to follow your own gut. Mm-hmm. So these are periods of really great movement. And then the Chinese New Year is January 29th, and it's the wood snake. Now, the wood snake only comes up every 60 years, just like every Chinese sign, because you've got an animal and there's 12 of those, and then you've got an element, there's 5 of those. And so the wood snake has a lot to do with people born in 1965. So think about, a lot of people are very unhappy in the United States, for example, because it looks like we might be going into war in Vietnam. We've already been in Korea. There's a lot of don't trust anybody over 30. And so the wood snake is cautious. The wood snake is wise and assesses the situation. There's a lot of intuition with the wood snake and lots of opportunities for wisdom and emotional growth. One of the things to keep in mind is if it's your year, if you're born in 1965, expect a lot of, what would we call them? Not setbacks, but intense moments that are difficult. A lot of crossroads. And then next year, when they hit their element as well as their animal, you will be able to reap the rewards of the effort you put out this. So just an idea about that. Finally, this, I like to think like the black hole at the center of the galaxy and get in space. And the sun takes 36 years. which is in Sagittarius. So the exact center of our galaxy is about 27 Sag, right?
Right.
We've known that for quite a while. We're at the halfway point now in crossing the equator. We started in 1998, and it will finish in 2034. So it kind of reminds me of like when Venus crosses in front of the sun, you know? It's like this big moment of beginning. And I feel like all this Aries energy and getting rid of the Pluto in Capricorn, and now Pluto's in Aquarius, we're really, really moving into the age of Aquarius, and we're halfway across the galactic equator now. So, yeah, I really feel like with these Aries planets and this, you know, equator, and then being at the solar maximum, this is a year of initiation. And so in our practice, in our spiritual practice, if you are invited to become an initiate, that's Aries. Aries rules indigenous spirituality. Participate, say yes. You know, don't give in to any fear, and especially if it's indigenous, that's Aries.
Yeah.
So go with it. Go with it.
I've done that. I've committed to 2 things for this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she has.
Excellent. Yeah.
Well,
it's
and we're
feel
committed.
right.
Well, we'll talk later about what we're committed to.
Yeah,
There's
right?
some fun stuff coming up this
Exactly.
summer, so I can't wait. Well, Kari,
Exactly.
that is amazing. I think so much. I love the evolutionary astrology aspect that you bring in. It just is so wise. And you studied with Steve Forrest and who else? I can't remember all of a sudden.
Well, Jeffrey Wolf Green was like the first evolutionary astrologer that I really studied with.
Yeah.
And the course was all on video. And you get to know the players, even though sometimes you don't see the people in the actual physical class. But you get to know their voice. And then at conferences, because he was still involved in conferences back then, you get to meet the players.
Yeah.
And so I met some of the most important people in my life through the conferences, which were Maurice Fernandez, very well-known evolutionary astrologer. He lives in Sedona, and Kim Marie Kipke and her husband Leroy, who live in South Dakota. And I met all of them for the first time, get this, in South Dakota at Sylvan Lake the day before the running of the buffalo, when they let the 50,000 buffalo for the annual run.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, So I have your up on screen. We have visionquestastrology.com if people want to get hold of you, to go to your website. And we also have your email. So it's Kari Noren-Hoshal at AOL.com. Please check her out. And if you go to her website, you can also get a phone number so you can call her and schedule a consultation with her. She can go into your chart and tell you so much about yourself. And I love that, Kari, because you don't just do like what I do, is kind of throw the planets around. You go into what's going on with a person, interpersonal.
You're a very good astrologer. Don't say that about yourself. Well, you're a very good astrologer.
I listen. I love listening to you.
I love it because I don't have a lot of colleagues, you know, so when I get to talk with you, when we finally get to spend some time together in the same place, especially, I really enjoy that a lot. So, yeah, the best place is to email me, and I'm going to spell my email. It's Kari, N like Nancy, O-R-E-N like Nancy. Hoshal is H-O-S like Sam, H-A-L. And it's ancient email here at AOL.com.
Right. Well, that's the best
way
to
do it. For those of you born
Yeah.
before 2000.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to let you go, Kari. Thank you so much for calling in.
My pleasure.
You know, we'll go ahead and let you get off work and do what you need to do. And
going out to dinner, actually.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Kari, for your insights, and we'll have you
Love
back
you
on.
guys.
Love you too,
Thank
hon.
you so much.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
So we want to thank Kari for coming on and giving us some insight, huh? That was pretty
Yeah.
profound. Tune in, we have upcoming in March. I have a psychic fair March 16th at the VFW Hall in Brunswick. Stop in 12 to 5. Catch us at the psychic fair. We'll be there doing readings. Thank you for tuning in. Please share. You can email us at godmotherspod, Gmail.
Fairy Godmothers Pod at gmail.com.
and on Facebook. So get hold of us. We want to hear from you. So again, thanks for tuning in, and I'm Reverend Elizabeth Howell.
And I'm Reverend Cynthia.
Thank you, and enjoy your week and month.
Bye-bye. Okay, we're 49 seconds over.